looking for the pulse of Tampa Bay sports. Beckles and Recher is the #1 source. The new guard, raising up the bar. Intelligent sports talk in your own backyard. Ain't no competition, ask the fans why. Beckles and Recher got it by a landslide. Don't fret, microphone check, stand by. Yo, Fox, where they at? Who my 2 favorite guys?
Here they go.
Here they go.
Here they go.
Here they go.
Here they go. Here they go.
Here they go.
Here they go.
Here they go.
Here they go.
Here they go.
Here they go. Here they go.
Here they go.
Beckles and Recher.
Everybody's having a wonderful week. We're hanging out here at the Dignitary Cafe in the back area, where we do what we do at the Dignitary Cafe, and that's keep it low.
Keep it low. Keep it.
You know, I just came back from Tampa Bay Downs with the great Aaron Jacobson.
You guys were together.
We were together.
Wow.
Almost like a couple.
Are you a bad influence?
He was a female.
You have to go there. You said this to start the show last week. Why do I always got to go there? You're going there.
With Aaron?
With Aaron,
if
yes.
me and Aaron were dating, who would be the female, Jay?
I don't know, man. You never know. I got a lot of faith in my guy. Listen, if there's a person that's been in Aaron Jacobson's corner for a decade, it's been me.
Okay.
You're a guy that likes being in corners.
First of all, okay, I am 100% unequivocally in Aaron Jacobson's corner. You know, that's my brother, okay?
Yes, just because of his mom.
If I ask Aaron Jacobson if me and him are dating, which one is a female? What do you think?
Well, you can't ask him. He's also Mr. Safe Guy. That's not the right guy to ask.
That was nice.
I'm defending.
Safe is a nice word.
He says it's safe
is
guy.
a safe word.
He's safe guy.
Safe's a safe word. All right. Okay. All right.
That way?
This way.
Oh, this is Ponzo.
All right.
Am I good here? Ooh, yeah.
All right, here we go.
Hey, you look more like the female in the relationship now.
I'm the female now. It's all good. But yeah, I had a good time at Tampa
That's
Bay
good.
Downs.
Did you guys win anything?
No. He paid for everything, so I didn't lose.
Picking the
Drove
ponies.
And,
Wow. Hell.
right.
You are the female in this situation.
I didn't think about that. I am the chicken.
defense rests. Thank you very much.
It's all good, man.
I feel good for you.
But should I
Is
put
this
out
a newfound?
what I'm supposed to put out?
I mean, come on. I know the Jacobsons have a thing for Mr. Beckles.
That's hearsay.
Yeah, I mean.
What, you saying his dad?
Well, I've heard it and I've seen it.
Well,
No, not the dad.
my father's mom's hot.
All right, now. I love how Aaron laughs. Oh, we love you, Emma.
No doubt.
We love you, Emma.
So,
all right, let's get right into it.
What's new, man? What's new?
I mean, let's get right into some of the big. Let's get right into the Kendrick halftime thing.
Okay.
I mean, because it's just been. We talked about it a little bit on my podcast on Monday, but it's the longer it goes out, the more it's funny to see reacting on both sides. And when you look at social media, you'll have one sect of people like that was the worst halftime show ever. And then you look at the other side of your social media and you go, what an incredible movement. What a representation of what is going on in this country. There has never been a better halftime show.
First of all, art is like fashion, okay? If you're talking about it a week later, he wins, first of all, okay?
Right.
So a lot of other halftime shows we stopped talking about the next day.
Mm-hmm.
We're still talking about it. You know why? It is not even close that it's the deepest halftime show ever. I'm still hearing stuff about what he was doing on the field.
Right.
And listen, if you don't like Kendrick Lamar, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. I know 4 songs. I kind of like the sound, okay? I knew most of the songs he played. I thought the performance itself was, like his singing and stuff was good. I didn't know if he was big enough of an artist to be out there.
Yeah, somebody said that too the other day.
I really don't think he was big enough. I think Lil Wayne is a bigger artist. He has more to do.
Without a doubt.
No doubt.
Without a doubt.
Now, that being said, with the time that he had, what he did and got accomplished was brilliant. You don't have to like that music or like what he was even saying. But if you see all the symbolism.
Do you, though? I think you do.
Oh, okay.
I think you do.
In a certain way, okay? If you don't like what he was trying to accomplish, I think you got to check yourself.
Well, I think that's the other side of it, though, right? You can. I understand there's a certain sect of people where they don't like that music, they're not going to like it anyway.
Period.
But somebody like myself, I grew up on hip hop.
Yeah.
I love hip hop music, right? It formed in my formative years, hip hop was everything to me. Number one, even still, love hip hop and R&B. But I don't know if it was the greatest halftime show. I understand the symbolism.
I agree.
But what is symbolism, though? It's also, and if only half of the people get it, the other half, if they don't grow up in that culture, you may like it, you may appreciate the performance, but if it doesn't resonate with you, you're going to be indifferent.
Appreciate it now, though? Like,
You
I'm
can,
appreciating
but-
things now.
Yeah, but isn't it, like, at the time,
Mm-hmm.
when you watch a halftime show about the pomp and circumstance,
Yeah.
you are judging it right then and there on how you like it. When you're talking about historical perspective, that's one thing. Look at that with games.
Yeah.
Like, this game was better when you look back and you be like, damn, that play on third down was amazing. But the reason why games are that good, because in that moment, you don't remember, oh, where was I when I thought about it 3 days later? You remember at the exact time where you were when this happened, when that happened, when the catch happened, when the goal happened. That's what is important. And I think when you have a performance like that, where there's a lot of hidden messaging, it's not going to connect with anybody. It doesn't mean that you're wrong if you didn't like it, if that's the aspect of it, because I think there's closed-minded people that ain't going to like it regardless.
That's true.
Right? But like myself, I thought it was good, but I thought there was a lot of things where if you weren't in the know, you weren't going to get it. And he also, it's not a guy like Lil Wayne, not a guy like Eminem, where it's banger after banger after banger. Usher, like he had number one hits that didn't even make it onto the halftime show. And unless you knew, They Not Like Us or Stay Humble, right? Mainstream America, are they going to know Kendrick Lamar's playlist if they're not a hip hop fan? That's kind of that's the risk that you run, even for people that like the performance or maybe are a casual Kendrick fan. Didn't have a bunch of hits where just even the casual listener, casual viewer, like, that was a great performance.
My thing is, I think before he went out there, 40% of America didn't like it. Okay, I really do believe
That's a part of it.
That's part of it. If Metallica went up there, 40% of America won't like it right away. They just won't like it. I kind of love both, okay? If somebody is a fan of art, I don't know how you can't like what he did. Because once again, when you said the symbolism and we didn't catch it till afterwards, sometimes that's the best art.
Right.
When you look at the first time I watched Napoleon Dynamite, I was like, and the second time I was like, whoa. And then the 10th time I go, this thing is brilliant. I think Kendrick's performance is to say, I'm like, he did what? He did how? Why did he do I keep on doing it. Like there's been 10 things that I've heard afterwards that have been brilliant, because when you're watching art, you could only see a little screen, a little piece of it. We didn't see all of it happening. I think if you were at the stadium, you probably would have ingested a lot better than watching it on TV. But when they're explaining the whole thing about the PlayStation play, and he did this, and they were laying down because of this, and Samuel Jackson, a lot of it, I was like, he put a lot of thought into this thing.
100%.
A lot.
But if you're an artist, you have a what? You have an open mind.
Okay.
And we know one of the things that's plaguing this country right now, that we have millions and millions of people that do not have an open mind.
That's a fact.
And we live in a world where it's about what? Pleasure, it's about convenience, it's about entertainment. If you don't like something you said about Napoleon Dynamite, you didn't like it the first time, but you went back to it. In the world that we live in now, you don't like something the first time, and not you, I'm not saying particular, but a lot of people, you don't get something that you like the first time, you're not going to go back and try it again. So if somebody was like indifferent of it, not hating, not with the preconceived notion that they weren't going to like it, but if you went in there and you're like, it just wasn't for me. I may like hip hop, I may think Kendrick is a phenomenal artist, but just not for me, and it'll never go back.
But I don't think he lost anything, though. I don't think
the back end, but people, like, think about it. How many people went back and were like, how many people went from one end of the spectrum to the other?
It almost never happens. Yeah. Very rarely.
Right. So you have to get those people initially. You have to get those people right at the rip, right? Because you know there's going to be people on either side that are either going to like it or dislike it right off the bat. So to think that symbolism is going to work in a situation, that's just not a good equation. If you're if you're trying to convince people,
okay,
and you know that there's going to be people looking at it after the fact and trying to kind of change how they view, I understand that. I'm talking about entertainment of a halftime, right? Okay. So that's where you're looking at other people going, I just want to be entertained. For me, that was my big drawback, is I wish there was more mainstream songs that we could listen to and just be like, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one. Yeah. The people that really, really enjoyed it are diehard hip hop and Kendrick fans, and I don't think enough casual people enjoyed it. And I think that's part of the reason why you want a halftime show with a bigger, like you said, Lil Wayne. That's a perfect example. Yeah. You may not be a huge hip hop fan, but I guarantee you, if you're watching the Super Bowl and Lil Wayne's doing the halftime show, there's 6 or 7 songs that you're like, I didn't even know that was Lil Wayne. But I heard it on this station, this station, this station, and there's also not a bunch of cameos. So if Wayne goes out there and he has Rihanna, he has Eminem, he has all these different people, there's people that even if they know that one song, they're like, I like that song right there. There wasn't really much of that crossover for the Kendrick performance.
Well, see, it doesn't sound like you think it was a success, and I'm okay with that.
No, I didn't. I don't think it was. Well, define success.
Well, okay, watch me, okay? This is success, and and I don't disagree with you when you say he didn't sway anybody, because I don't think anybody gets swayed. If you're a Metallica fan, there's very few people. Even Prince, who was amazing, nobody just heard that Prince was great. Everybody's known Prince was great. And when you talk about making art great, I'm going to compare it to something. Remember when Pharrell wore that ugly ass hat? And everybody's like, why is he wearing that ugly ass hat? And then they talked about it for 2 weeks, and now it's the Pharrell hat. He did so much for people to decipher that we're going to be talking about this for 3 weeks. People are acting like he didn't do anything great. He had 137 million people watching him do something, and he's going to make them talk about him for 3 more weeks. I think he's winning, man. I don't know if it was great, and everybody goes, it was great.
So,
and we weren't talking about it afterwards.
So when you're saying about a success, what are you saying? What is your question?
Well, it's not a question to me. I think it was uber successful because Kendrick Lamar has people who don't even know about him talking about him. Yeah, a week later.
That's a different question, though. That's a different statement that you're making there, because I don't disagree with that at all. You can't. Because now people that don't even know Kendrick Lamar know who he is.
How didn't it work?
Well, it didn't work. Talking about is trying to get. I'm not even talking about working or not working. I'm talking about people enjoying it.
Okay.
Right? And people that weren't going to enjoy, like you said, people that weren't going to enjoy it probably weren't going to enjoy it anyway. But listen, for what he was able to do, halftime show with the Super Bowl, it's a success. You just being out there.
That's a fact.
Right?
That's a fact.
Because you're getting in front of an audience that half the audience never even probably knew who you were. And in that situation, I think any publicity is good publicity. My whole thing is that I don't know if the message as impactful to that weren't Kendrick Lamar and hip hop fans.
I understand that
wholeheartedly. That's my whole thing.
Yeah, so it was like me watching a Johnny Carson show when I was young. I didn't understand half of it.
Well, what's it about? Relatability.
But the people who knew explained it to everybody, and I think that's the part that's amazing.
Who though? Who?
A lot of people
on social media after, right?
Well, I'm sure a lot of people had no idea what Serena Williams was there. But every room, I guarantee, in every room, somebody says she used to date Drake. So that's adding to his lore.
Well, but that also you can't assume that the rooms that
somebody in the room is going to know that Serena Williams.
Not the people that didn't know anything about Kendrick Lamar. If people didn't know Kendrick Lamar, listen. If you don't know Kendrick Lamar, probably a chance. Drake is more well known than Kendrick Lamar. We can agree with that, right?
There's no doubt.
I don't know if people necessarily knew that aren't hip hop fans, that aren't in tune with pop culture, knew that Drake was dating Serena Williams.
I mean, you might be right there, but that's
if you're in the room of people that knew.
There's nothing Kendrick could have done. If you didn't know any of that, there's nothing Kendrick could have done to get them. There's nothing he could. There's nothing.
But that's my point. It's like even though, and I think cameos are important. I think that's one of the best parts of the halftime show.
I think you should have had more cameos. Personally,
agreed.
That's me.
But the way he does his music, that's not very monotone, right? He's not a guy that has these big different crescendos and decrescendos. So that, I don't know if that lends itself as well for a pomp and circumstance. It was I liked it because I thought it was methodical, but I'm more of an open-minded person, right? So I liked it. I loved that one. I loved Tom Petty. I loved freaking Eminem and those guys. Like that's me. But I know there's certain people that they were turned off probably when they heard who it was going to be on. But I don't know if anybody, like, do you think anybody that went into it going, I'm not going to like this, said they liked it?
No. Well, that's hard to really sway somebody that way that goes in and says they're not going to like it. It's hard they already have their mind made up. And I think I could have created one that would have had more energy But I don't know if Eminem wanted to do it. I don't know if Lil Wayne wanted to do it. I don't know if Tyler the Creator, just because, it would make sense that Tyler the Creator would like to be up there. Wouldn't it make sense? Like, I'd be shocked if Tyler the Creator said no to perform in front of 137 million people.
100%.
Why didn't he go out there with that's Kendrick's beat with Sticky. That'd have turned the place out. You know what I mean? There's so many little things I thought he could have done. That being said, if he started off by saying, I'm going to make this about me and my other, protege, SZA, all right? I'm going to make it about us and my music and me smashing Drake and me ending this thing. I don't know if he could have done that any better. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
if you watch it again and have somebody explain to you what he's doing, it'll blow your mind.
The last couple minutes, and mentioned Drake's name. Serena was out there crip walking. Said game over at the end. That was one of the biggest salvos and shots across the bow we've ever seen in battle rap.
With an A minor necklace.
A minor, and here's the thing too. Had half the people, and let's not forget, much as we talk about people that loved it, largest applause that entire night was for Donald Trump. You want to talk about kind of the crazy dichotomy of that game. Is the loudest applause were for Donald Trump, and then you had thousands of people in the arena that knew every song to Kendrick Lamar, and also, how many people said A minor? Like, it was that was insane.
But Jay, if you really think about it, if you had Kendrick Lamar perform at Raymond James Stadium, he would have way more fans than at a Super Bowl game.
Yeah, of course. But we know how the
Super
Bowl.
So much money.
I know, but people. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Is that his fan base? Fan base people that are going to attend the Super Bowl, football fans like that with a ton of money.
White people though, for real.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's not his people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. But still, like he is. Not taking anything away. Kendrick's still a huge star.
Huge star. Maybe the biggest in the world right now. He might
because
be.
of this.
He might. 100%.
Because of this.
He's the most talked about. Now, let me say this about Kendrick Lamar, okay? And I'm still a Drake fan. I still like Drake music. I still do. It's not hip hop, but I still like Drake music. Everybody is acting like Drake is losing, okay? Everybody says Drake every day 55 times, all right? Last year, you know who was the highest streamed artist every month but one? Drake. So that's everybody now. Is he getting booed everywhere he goes? Yep. Is he getting talked to like a bitch? Yep. But he's still making his money. His music hasn't changed.
I don't think this is a bad thing for him at all.
No, of course not.
You know what you do?
That ain't happening. I don't think Kendrick wants anything to do with that. I think Kendrick exposed Drake. I think he exposed him.
If he never comes back, then I'll say yes.
Well, the thing is, he's going to come back with the same stuff he's been doing. All Kendrick is letting people know is he's made. I'm not. Like, I heard Eminem say, I test Kendrick. I brought him in the studio, and I told everybody go. Everybody leave. And he goes, I put the beat on, and I said, go. And he spat out gorgeous brilliance. Drake, you ever see Drake when he tried to freestyle a couple times?
Not great.
Oh, it's awful. So people in the industry, Jay, when I talk about football players, I talk about them different because I've been there. If you're in the industry and you're great like Jay-Z or Kendrick or these guys, Eminem or these guys who go in there, and I went to New York with Heavy Lyrics and Chris Streets, and those guys for a couple hours listened to a beat and spat out brilliance, and that to me is amazing. Drake can't do that.
Did you see Jadakiss up there?
Jadakiss is absolutely up there.
No, I'm saying, did you see him in New York when you went?
No, I didn't. I did see Jadakiss when I was in New York.
Thanks for the invite again. My favorite rapper of all time. I want to meet the guy one time.
I hung out with his son, too, actually. His son's real.
His son's
real good. Jay Wan's good. He's good. He's a future. Next time, we'll holler at you.
Can't really figure this clown out. Where's he from? Jamaica, Queens, Cali, or down south?
I just got hip to Styles P.
Styles P, to me, was such a big... Styles P, when I first heard Styles P, was like...
Yeah.
But he's amazing. Cheek Luch, all the guys. I've just... Battle against Dipset, which was tough because...
That versus? It wasn't close.
No.
It wasn't close.
So that's the thing. So that battle between... D-Block and Dipset was great. I sat on my couch with the headset on late at night and watched it, and I was almost in tears because it was my childhood. I loved it so much. But You got to remember, I grew up with my buddy Kellen, and him and Joel Santana are first cousins. Kay's dad and Joel. So we've been following them for so long. And when I heard that came out, I'm excited for this, but I'm also not excited because these are not the same. Like D-Block is their hard-hitting rappers. Dipset was like,
absolutely,
computers putin'. That homie out do the shooting. Like it's just a little different, right? And that's why, like, when they got halfway into it, they were just like, chill. We're not trying to do that. And then it ended kind of very cordially.
Real cordial.
D-Block is, they're coming at you with banger after banger after banger. It's a little different.
Jadakiss is that guy that you don't hear a lot of people up other than
They don't
people
want the smoke.
in the industry.
Don't want the smoke.
People
either.
in the industry, though, when they talk about the greatest, you don't hear any schmucks on the street other than yourself. Seriously, and I've always loved Jadakiss, and maybe that's why you're still around because we're like-minded somehow. I've always go, he's the most underrated. He's the most underrated. I've heard you say Jadakiss is my dude. When you hear people in the industry talk about the greatest, his name comes up often.
Listen, he had beef with 50, and years before that, on the song "Back Down" that you still hear, said all the other hard come from Yonkers.
Yeah,
he's talking about Jadakiss. Then they got into the beef. Just look up Checkmate. Yeah. Look up some of these songs that Jadakiss made against 50 Cent. Like
Checkmate's
he's lucky that he was already established before that came out because he could have Problem Child. Like these songs could have buried 50 Cent into the ground before he ever got big. Luckily for him, Get Rich and Die Trying came out before that.
Yeah, right.
All those songs came out.
After that, you ain't
But
doing
50's another guy, like we're going back to the Kendrick conversation. Like 50's a guy who go up there and people be like, I don't like 50. But 21 Problems comes on and In the Club comes on.
But he's not Kendrick.
No, I know, but
I think
but you hear what I'm saying,
more
right?
Drake than Kendrick.
No, I don't disagree.
Okay,
but what I'm saying is that if you're going to do a crossover, you're going to try to reach over and try to get attention from people that aren't normal hip hop fans, you're going to have some 93.3 FLZ bangers on there.
No doubt.
Right?
And that's why
Kendrick doesn't do that.
I didn't think Kendrick. But the thing is, they were thinking, first of all, the guy in control is Jay-Z.
Right.
Okay, so it wasn't going to be Lil Wayne. They got beef. It wasn't going to be Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne and Jay-Z got beef. And it's gonna be about dollars and cents. And Kendrick made dollars and cents. Right now, he's the hottest thing out there. And like I said, we're still talking about this thing, man. Whoever it is next year, I promise you, won't cause a ruckus like this. No way. This is one of the biggest ruckuses ever for a halftime show other than Janet Jackson. We're still talking about this. And it ain't over. There's still symbolism coming out.
Are we going to ever have another one of those?
I hope. Oh, man.
Might be you.
Maybe.
Speaking of beef, have you heard of the beef between Cam Newton and Steve Smith?
You were telling me a little bit. I didn't hear about it.
Listen to this. This is Newton.
I'm not a fan of either one of them.
This is Cam Newton on the Travis Hunter show, and I felt so bad for Travis Hunter. Obviously, standout Heisman Trophy winner. Colorado is going to be a top 3 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. This is what Cam Newton had to say about getting drafted number 1 because Hunter has a chance to go number 1. It's either going to be him, Shedeur Sanders, Van Ward, or Abdul Carter, one of those 4 guys. And Cam said, you could potentially be the first pick, but, bro, you have no way of impacting the game the way a quarterback does. So bad for Travis. He looks so uncomfortable. You can lock down the number 1 receiver. You can make impact plays on offense all you want, but it's still not like a quarterback. My issue is that when I was the first pick, I went into a locker room of losers. Just honest. Guys didn't know how to win. Guys didn't know how to prepare. They didn't take themselves serious to realize we was 2-14. There was a lot of 2-14 in the mentality of those guys. Those comments didn't sit well with Steve Smith, who was a member of that 2010 team, and he tweeted out, 53-man locker room minus 1 equals 52 losers. Wow. Breaking news, 89. Yeah. So Smith went on to say, I've watched and listened from afar as you, Cam Newton, talk about the Panthers. None of us are perfect. Yes, we were 2-14 before you blessed us with your presence. The way you've talked about the Panthers lately, I'm very disappointed. I wish you nothing but the very best. I am. So you, as a former NFL player and drafting number 1 overall, obviously your team wasn't good here before. But to go in there and to blast these guys and to say they were losers, know that there's a lot that goes into a season going awry. For a guy like Steve Smith, who's on the precipice of making the Hall of Fame, you could call a lot of other guys losers on that team. It makes a lot of sense to me, even though I'm not a huge Steve Smith fan, that he wouldn't take too kindly to those words.
First of all, I don't know why Cam Newton would say that to a young man. Okay, how is that, elevating your mindset? I don't know how that's positive in any way. Okay.
Why do you think that? Before we get into this whole thing,
why do I think
why
it
do you
is?
think Cam says? Why do you think Cam makes these bold proclamations to stay
I think
relevant?
it's an ego thing.
Stay relevant, right?
Well, I don't know if it's. I guess it's shock jock type of shock.
It's gotta be. Ian. You can't believe half the shit this guy's saying, man. Like, he's saying this stuff. He's going on ESPN. He's making these bold, outrageous claims, and it's hard to look at the guy and be like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, because the dude was the number 1 overall pick. He was an MVP. He was a fantastic player during his time.
It doesn't mean you know what you're talking about.
It doesn't, but that's the problem. Is you're always going to get the benefit of the doubt to a certain point over somebody like myself who's never taken a snap in the NFL. But there's got to be a line for these NFL. It's not just NFL. It's any of these former athletes that think, well, I just did this. Now I can say whatever the hell I want, not have any couth whatsoever. You go into a podcast, again, with a kid, and he looks so awkward there. It's like, what are you doing? You're not benefiting anybody in this situation. And now you're talking shit about a franchise that drafted you, that paid you, that gave you an opportunity to live out your dream, and you won MVP. It's just a weird way to operate.
Well, leadership, everybody can be a leader, okay? And if you said to me, listen to this statement, and you read that, and you said, is that a statement of a leader? I would go, hell no. Hell no. What do you mean? It was crap before I got there. Could you imagine John Elway saying that, or Peyton Manning saying? I can't imagine him saying that, because he wouldn't say that. It's not their attitude. Okay, you walk into the locker room, you're there with your brothers. You win, you lose together. You don't want to, demean all these professional football players that were there before you. And you think when they meet up with you afterwards, they're going to go, hey, what's up, Cam? And you call me a loser? I mean, I was on 9 NFL teams, and it was never 500. If somebody calls me a loser, I'll be ready to fight. Okay, so it ain't about winning and losing sometimes. Now, did Cam Newton make them better instantly? No doubt about that. No doubt about it. He's a great talent. Is he a great leader? I don't know. I never played with him, but that's not the statement of a leader for me.
You wouldn't bet your house on it.
No way. Look, there's a lot of guys that are successful I don't think are great leaders. I was around Dan Marino. I'm not sure he was a great leader. Great thrower of the ball. Aaron Rodgers, to me, I don't think is a great leader from an outsider looking in. And then there's other guys. We'll use Baker Mayfield as an example. When I hear Tristan Wirfs said he met Baker Mayfield, and Baker like, let's go get a beer. And then we're buds. That leadership is huge. What did everybody say when Tom Brady came in the locker room? He came and addressed me first.
Right.
That's leadership. If you're not doing the corner of the locker room, I'm this and my shit doesn't stink and blah, 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 I'm Cam Newton. Don't nobody really want to be drawn to that. And in the Super Bowl, when it's your time to give up your body, you don't give up your body. That's hard. That's hard to follow. So I'm not on Team Cam Newton. I'm not really a big Steve Smith fan either. Everybody always act like he was this tough guy. He's a wide receiver. Get out of here. I don't know. He's too blown up for me. I'm not a big Steve Smith.
Yeah, and I look back at that 2010 team, and you look at, there's some. Ryan Khalil was a good player. Him and his brother were both offensive linemen in the league for a while. They had Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams as running backs. They were good enough to help you to the Super Bowl that one year. Correct. So obviously they weren't freaking losers. And I think one of the more underrated players in the last couple of years, Thomas Davis, was a hell of a linebacker with Luke Kuechly on that team. So you had pieces on that team that help you win.
Luke Kuechly was there?
Not at that time. I think he was drafted the year after.
Okay.
But
you don't think that had anything to do with them winning? You don't think Luke Kuechly, who was probably top 3 middle linebacker?
He's saying the 2010 team was a bunch of losers, right?
Still,
so Kuechly got there in 2012. But the guys that I mentioned, D'Angelo and Jonathan Stewart, Khalil, and John Beeson was on that team who had some good. What about those guys? Right? Like, you think about this, like, those guys weren't losers. They were on the team. It wasn't like, this is what I have a problem with. You make this statement like you didn't get to the Super Bowl a couple of years later with guys that were on that team.
Same guys.
It wasn't like the team was, like, completely different and you had no holdovers. Just check a couple of years later, you were in the Super Bowl. You didn't want to go jump on a fumble. You were running scared from Von Miller all freaking night, and now that is what your legacy really is defined by. People remember more about Cam Newton, about what he's saying now, the way he dressed, and not jumping on his fumble, than him leading his team to a 15-1 record and an MVP. That's sad. It really is. It's sad because he's ruining his own legacy by opening his mouth and just talking shit about everybody. It's just... There's no good to come from that.
There was rumors he was broke. I don't believe it because there's rumors about a lot of people that I don't believe. He is trying to stay relevant, and I don't blame him for that. But that statement to me just screams, thank God for me.
Right.
That's it. Thank God for me. I'm the savior. I'm the chosen one. Nobody wants to follow that. I've never wanted to follow that.
Right.
Ever.
Well, this guy probably wants to follow him.
Who's that?
Let's go from one quarterback that's delusional to another quarterback that's delusional. You ready to laugh? You like laughing?
I love that.
Got that laugh smoke on you right now.
do.
I'm not going to tell you who said this. I'm just gonna say it. I feel like we've competed with the Eagles and beat them for the most part when we've played them. This quarterback said Tuesday after announcing the models for this year's Children's Cancer Fund Gala that will be held April 11th. Thank you for. I don't want to say check the record, or as Jameis would say, check your sheet. When the other guy is holding the trophy, right? So credit to them. They've earned it, and they deserve it by all means. But, yeah, we're very close. What quarterback said that?
Oh, I know. I saw this.
Oh, boy.
Unfortunately. Actually, my daughters, last time I had a dinner with them, they said, remember so-and-so? I don't remember her name. And I go, yeah. You know who she just married? Dak Prescott. So my daughter's best friend, one of her friends, got impregnated a girl. I mean, he might have been dating her. I don't know. And my daughters were like, and I brought my daughters up the right way. I'm pretty sure I did. It was weird to hear my daughters almost applaud her for getting pregnant by Dak Prescott. They were like, that wouldn't be terrible. I was like, you know what? It wouldn't be terrible. If my daughter was like, Dad, I'm pregnant by Dak Prescott, I'm getting married, I'd be like, private jets? I'm on a private jet. You don't go on a private jet.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm not trying to hoe up my daughters, but
but if it's gonna give me extra wide seats on the G5, oh man, I got two of them.
But they gonna be happy too, though. I'm gonna say, Dak, you gonna take care. Don't put your hands on them, but dog, we gonna be good, me and you, dog. Big scrimps.
Big scrimps.
Oh, big scrimps.
You'll have your own scrimps.
No doubt. I'll be in the box watching them lose in this big ass.
Bro,
arena.
how could you say that you're close?
You're not.
Bro,
you're not.
How many years has it been since they even made it to the conference championship?
Forget about that.
Just think about it.
Where are they better?
How old are your kids?
My oldest is 30.
Your daughter was 1.
Yeah.
When they were in the conference championship. So that means your other 2 kids have not been alive. They haven't been alive on this earth. The Dallas Cowboys make it to the NFC Championship game. Think about that. Aaron Jacobson has older underwear.
I think they said that every NFC team
has made
it to the NFC Championship in the last 12 years or
not
something.
Long.
And
not long.
Dallas has been since 95.
90. You were still playing in the league.
Ian
Beckles,
young, bro.
You have been retired for how long?
When? Now?
How long have you been retired?
26 years. Yeah, but I was in the middle of my
Dallas's streak for how long they've been out of the playoffs is longer than your retirement from the NFL.
That sounds crazy. If you'd have told me that they're not the playoffs, the Super Bowl, they've been in the playoffs, kinda. They've been in the playoffs.
Yes.
Kinda.
Yeah, no, they've been
Briefly.
in the playoffs. Yeah, they got smoked last year by Jordan
Briefly.
Love and the Packers 2
Have
years
they ever won 2
let
games?
me ask you a question. No, because they
suck.
Let me ask you this question.
I feel like you're piling on.
No, maybe. When did you start smoking?
35.
How old you were? You were 35
I was
years old?
35, yeah.
So Dallas has been out of the playoffs longer than Ian has smoked weed. Think about that, guys.
Ooh,
Ian
that's something.
That is something. Ian's been catching up, boy.
He's been catching up, yeah.
Think about that.
I'm winning.
I was 10. I was 10 years old.
You
11.
were 10 when you started
11.
doing
But it's almost the same for me.
Yeah, Dallas is sad. We have a couple of Dallas fans here.
Why?
Davon.
Why?
Davon,
why?
And I think I just go, it's sad. It's sad. It's sad. Every year, it's sad. And they think every year they think it again. Next year, okay? Next year, I want you to answer this question, okay? Are Dallas Cowboys going to go into next year optimistic? Because I know they're going to, but why? Why are they? Give me a reason why. Give me the player that's going to make them, I mean, seriously.
If they get Ashton Genty in the draft, that's going to, no, you're asking me who's going to give him optimism.
Okay.
He's the guy because he's clearly the number 1 running back. He's a bad dude.
He's a bad dude.
And here's the thing, too. What about Dallas? And I wouldn't use the word sad ever because I
they're
think it's a
sad.
great.
It's
No,
sad.
they're sad, but it's
Yeah.
not sad. It's two different things, two different variations of the word sad. But the thing is, I look with Dallas is when I talk about this all the time, trenches, man, and they're going well. Let's not forget they just had 12 or 13 win seasons, 2 or 3 in a row. Mike McCarthy, what? Nobody really has done a better job on the offensive line outside of Philadelphia than Dallas. For many years, it was Tyron Smith, right? They got Smith. They had Frederick. They had all these different guys. Zach Martin, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
They're all gone.
Martin's still, he's hanging
He
on.
ain't the same,
yeah,
though.
no.
He ain't the same.
But you see what I'm saying, though? So, like, for them, they kind of had the right process of rushing the passers with DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons and guys like that. But for them, it was always a bad mistake or a bad coaching decision or guys on the outside that didn't do the job, linebackers that couldn't stay healthy. But there is something to – they're not just throwing money at the skill position player. If anything, they haven't done that, and that could have hurt them because you look at what they did last year. CeeDee Lamb was so banged up, and he was making a difference with one arm out there, and he was literally the only guy they had on the out. But you can't think that you're going to be competitive if, for the things that helped you be successful the last 5 years, you weren't good at last year. So outside of Micah Parsons, who was helping you other than DeMarcus Lawrence? The offensive line, not as much of a strength that we've seen in years past. I don't know. They're in trouble because you got to look at Philadelphia and you got to look at Washington with all their cap space. They're going to make a move. Let's say Washington goes out there and gets Myles Garrett. Right?
I think they'd be in trouble in any division. I just don't know.
AFC South? Colts, Texans, Titans, Jaguars, I think they'd be all right there.
Okay.
Dak still, where are you at on Dak? That's a good question. Where are you at on Dak?
Dak's a middle-of-the-road quarterback.
Better or worse than Baker?
Right now, it's not close.
Over the last 5 years?
Baker. Mostly from the last 2. I don't know about going back 3. If you say 5, you go back 4 years, it might be Dak.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what those – and listen, I'm not a honk, okay? I think Dak Prescott – I think you win a championship with Dak Prescott.
I do too.
But you got to run the football and you got to
I
play
like
defense.
Dak Prescott better. He's made some mistakes, but I
think Dak and Baker are very similar.
I think Dak Prescott, he doesn't do as much with his legs, right? I think Dak's in a weird spot because I feel like Dak is better than what the haters say, but I don't think he's as good as the people that think he's a top 5 quarterback.
Agreed.
I think he's right there. I don't think people do that with Baker. Like I don't think there's a lot of people out there that are praising Baker Mayfield.
I think he's starting to sneak in people's
sneaking in. But you're not getting people that are like when Dallas was going back to back to back, plus 10+ win seasons. There's people that are saying Dak is periphery on the top 5.
But this is a lot of quarterbacks
people aren't
are
doing
cyclical.
That with Baker.
A lot of quarterbacks are cyclical.
Yeah.
I think Justin Herbert's fallen a little bit in the last.
Herbert
year.
and Trevor Lawrence are kind of. They feel like
Trevor Lawrence has plummeted.
Way down there.
3 years ago, you're like, oh, look at the potential. He hasn't progressed at all. There's fantastic.
So where do you put? Yeah,
you got a quarterback guru, and it still ain't working. Listen, I don't believe in gurus. I don't believe in it. I think it's about that quarterback maturing, and it helps to have somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. But you're bringing in a guru 1 year. The gurus can't affect you in 1 year. It's a year after year. You're in the same system. A lot of them don't have the time for this. Lawrence has probably he's going to have another coordinator coming up. Every year it's different. So he has to relearn. He never learned the last one. That's why Baker Mayfield wasn't so done. Baker Mayfield succeeded in his 6th year because he played 6 years of football. In my first year, I was making rookie mistakes. In my 6th year, I already made the mistakes. You stop making mistakes. So all the quarterback coaches and John Gruden's his quarterback whisperer. Now, you didn't whisper nothing. You have old quarterbacks that know what the hell they're doing. I put it on the football players, not the coaches.
I got to be honest with you, man. I cannot believe that you hopped on this podcast. No, that my guru buried me under the ground for 7 days. He put an elephant on my chest.
That's my
Hundreds,
guy. That's
hundreds.
my guy, Bikram.
One single drop of my sperm.
$1 million.
$1 million. Bikram Yoga guy who was a staple of the Ron and Ian show back in the day. My gosh,
Gotta bring him.
Gotta bring him back. We gotta get some drops or something.
I'm sitting in on the Mike Calter show here. When we go on the cruise.
When is that?
And it's coming in.
Nice.
And
you need a guest producer.
I might Not allowed to?
A little while, a couple months.
Slave. You're a slave to clear iHeart.
Slavey.
Are you allowed to do podcast? Nah. I don't want to get him in trouble. Me, I didn't care. I was going on everybody. So I didn't care.
You could go on the show, I think. You just can't get. Oh, I can go on. You just can't get paid.
No.
Yeah, you can.
I jumped on Bubba's show and they stopped. They gave me a
Oh, yeah?
Stop immediately.
Really? But how often? Like how much after?
A couple months.
Really?
I was still within my non-compete. Absolutely. You don't have a non-compete?
I knew what to ask for. My deal.
Really good for you. I thought you had a non-compete.
I have a severance. That's
Well,
different
those are
than
two
a
different
non-compete.
things. So you can get a job right now if you want?
As long as it's not a
Direct radio job.
Yeah.
Okay.
couldn't work for the
Did you work for the Lightning? Lightning, holla at my boy.
USF. Well, I'm doing play-by-play stuff with the Lightning, which is
Okay.
good. So I did softball last Friday against Michigan. Unbelievable game. The game Sunday. So mom and dad were in town. Went to go see USF Florida softball. You know me. I go to every sport, and I don't say things like this often. Florida Gators softball team, young ladies, may be the greatest college softball team
Really?
hitting-wise that I've ever seen. Bro, their leadoff hitter's like yay high. She went yak. Their two-hitter, Oppo Taco,
really?
twice. I go, wow, that girl's kind of big. Freshman. Their three-hitter looks like she got an open stance. She got like a baseball stance. Line drive, bang, bang, bang. You know who's on the team? White Chocolate, Jason Williams'
Really?
daughter,
She
plays
nice,
second
though?
base.
Nice.
Nasty.
Yeah, she is.
Bro, she got a ball, one hop, hit her in the
Yeah.
chest, bounced around, barehanded, spun around, threw the girl out at first. I didn't post it yet, but me and Pops got a
Jason
picture.
Williams there?
Me
Was he there?
and Pops got a picture of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Like chocolate.
How great was it, too? So we went up to him. I was like, hey, man, sorry to bother you. He's like, never a bother, never a bother. We talk. My dad, he don't shy away from anybody. He don't care. He'll talk to you about anything.
Oh, me and your
He'll
dad
find
had some
some
great car.
Bro, unbelievable.
Like your dad goes, "Come here."
Because my dad asks great questions. And I think that's where
You know what? He does ask.
he does.
He does.
And I think that's where I got and because I remember when my dad came and we came here.
Yeah.
Like he met you before, but when he came here, like Ian, as a former NFL player, like my dad doesn't ask like generic bullshit. My dad be like, Ian, as an NFL player, like your preparation during these months, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, huh.
Yeah.
My dad talked to Phil Esposito one time in the press box. My dad is an Islanders fan.
Yeah.
He could give two shits about Phil Esposito's Ranger. They spoke for the entire 17 minutes. And they were talking about New York and blah, 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 and this and that. And they were talking about gas prices and just like anything. My dad finds that angle, So he goes and we say hi to Jason Williams. And then my dad goes, all right, I'm good. They go to the bathroom like third inning. He goes, yeah, so I saw White Chocolate again outside the bathroom. And then we just started talking. And he's like, oh, where are you from? And he's like, and my dad says, Long Island. And Jason Williams goes, we got enough of you in New York. He's coming down here.
He's not wrong, though.
But my dad's like talking to him, and I
Yeah.
can just tell. Like my dad's the last person to blow smoke up anybody's ass. Like what my dad says happened.
Yep.
And the way he's telling me like this back and forth, I'm like, this is exactly what Jason Williams was saying, like laughing. And my dad's like, my other son said you're white, White Chocolate. And my dad's sitting there telling my mom, like, you have to go see this guy on YouTube.
Jason Williams was nasty. Dog.
He was
nasty.
as a guy like myself that grew up and I played a ton of basketball. And everybody wanted to do the pass with Jason Williams where you had the ball in your right hand, you went to go behind the back, and you used the left elbow to hit it back.
Yeah.
He was just so like, think about it. This is one of those things in sports that it happened in the late 90s, early 2000s. That's something that we need to keep in mind when we talk. Mike Bibby was a better point guard than Jason Williams. When you're talking about overall, he could shoot the ball better. He obviously didn't handle the ball better. But when Jason Williams was on the court, Josh was better, Chris Webber was better, right? Like his shot got better as he got older when he went to the Heat and won a championship. But like when you look at Mike Bibby,
He played with Shaq, didn't he?
yeah, with the Heat, he won a championship.
Shaq talks about him.
But he
goes,
loved him.
Yeah,
but
he
you see
did.
what I'm saying? Like you look in and he was all flash and dash, but loved playing with them, and he made his players better. So maybe he didn't early on in his career shoot the ball as well. Maybe his defense wasn't as sound. Maybe, right? And Mike Bibby was more that prototypical, obviously being the son of Henry Bibby, who big college guy, played in the pros. He's got that lineage, right? So there was more of a trust factor, and you kind of get that as a coach. But when you're a player like Jason Williams and you elevate the levels of a Stojakovic, Weber, and a Divac, like that Kings team was nasty now in the 90s, and maybe if they weren't around at the same time as Shaq and Kobe, they probably win a championship.
I enjoyed watching him play. Okay, and when you're doing stuff that nobody else is, I don't care what color he is. He just did stuff nobody else was doing, and he had a little AI.
Hey.
He had a little AI in him.
Hey, but he got a card though.
Yeah,
He got a card.
Yeah,
I got the card too. He's in there.
you got that?
Oh, and it came out. Oh man, we'll tell this story. So, my homegirl Takina, Takina was frolic. Like she would beat up dudes growing up. Like
Clearly black girl.
Takina was
Clearly
awesome,
black girl.
fantastic.
That's a fact.
She was great. She was great, and just such a like one of those people that you just like you never not smile when she came by. She said, thoughts, I was going to blast this clear young fella I went to school with. I believe everyone has the right to feel and say what they want, but he was trying to be funny and couldn't even stand on business. What's your thoughts on this? Some random person left me in this inbox. Comments, please. So, Tina posted something about Black History Month, and this guy said, oh, it's Black Fatherless. Now, mind you, this is a white male that I went to school with, white kids out of 1,600 in my high school. And Takina 169 comments from everybody that we went to high school with. And you're talking black, you're talking white, and you're talking Asian. And then I commented 2 days later saying, just checking in, I'm still invited to the barbecue, right?
Bro, just wear what
and here's Takina's response. J. Recher always with 90 exclamation points. LOL, lifetime membership.
It's your shoes.
No, back then it wasn't shoes.
No, wasn't your shoes back
It
then?
was my hair.
Yeah?
It was my bro.
Your swag?
You know me, man. Carl Thomas.
You're pretty easy, dog.
So let me tell you this story. So went on the ski trip, 11th and 12th grade. And when I went in 11th grade, a lot of the guys that were a year younger than me, one of my friends, Joe, and there was like him that I was really friends with, and then kind of his friends. And I was in 11th grade. It wasn't many 11th graders, but the 10th graders. So I stayed with Joe because that was one of my good friends. And I remember I was hanging out with the 12th graders and the majority of the seniors that went back in Spanish, right? So I went to hang out with them. And then for some reason, we got on a table. And I started dancing. I was dancing, and my buddy Nate Mickle, who was the starting quarterback of the football team, started running down the hotel. Not white. Recher's not white. They ran into my room.
What?
I was dancing with two black girls, dancing to Genuine or something. They ran into my room. All the seniors grabbed my bags and said, "You're not staying with these."
Oh, this is not a real
the party
story.
was the party.
Jay Recher is not white, like as in.
I got some flavor to me.
So he's not saying it negatively.
No, he loved it.
Okay.
Nate was one of my best.
Okay. Oh,
Nate,
so
me and Nate had such a
well,
good
I
time.
want you. Okay, I didn't catch the whole story.
Okay, now you got it.
If a white guy did that, it would be a different story. If a white guy saw you and he saw you dance with two black girls and go, Jay Recher's not white, that's a different story.
I think it's even better that it was Nate.
Well,
That was him announcing to everybody
no, I understand that.
that I was.
If it was a white guy, this would be a different story.
I'm getting a call from the. Oh,
Lightning?
good. I'm in the middle of work. Can I call you back?
Aaron's
Emergency.
mom?
No, it's the property man.
Oh.
But Nate's running down saying, Jay Recher's not white. They go get my bags. They bring them back. So I'm staying in. And, all weekend, it was my anointment.
Was it almost like what is it,
Road trip?
It was a lot
Similar.
like that.
Similar.
I'm picturing.
Similar. I wasn't as awkward, though, because I knew them.
Round to right. Did you sleep with a big boned sister?
No.
Okay.
But I did hang out with the girl that I ended up going to prom with.
I saw a great meme of that guy from that movie. I don't remember what his name was.
I know who you're talking about.
He was in the bed with the big sister, and it said
God.
Cooper DeJean, his first night back in Philadelphia. Dean is the dog now.
Motivate. This was the girl that I was with.
Oh, snap. I ain't mad.
That's how it goes, man. All right, finally, let's finish this off with what was going on with Patrick Mahomes Sr. and John Rocker. What is going on here? I mean, Patrick Mahomes Sr. is gotta
He does.
calm it down a little
His
bit.
whole
too.
family is a little bit much for me. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has never really said anything to bother me. Never. His voice is a little bit much, but I've never heard him say anything that bothers me. His brother's a douche, and his father just says, and his wife, everybody around him. I don't know if he makes great decisions. You don't decide who your family is, but decide who your wife. And she's not even cool with Taylor. I think her and Taylor had an outing. I think Taylor doesn't like Trump, and she's a Trump fan, so I heard they had a little if.
Really?
You know how they do it in Hollywood now.
If with Swift.
Yeah.
I want that.
It's either you're a Swiftie or a Trumpy. You can't be both.
Can't be both.
No, man.
So when you look at this whole thing with John Rocker and Patrick Mahomes Sr., it was Rocker who stated he wished he had ruined Mahomes' bullshit weekend even more by punching him during their dust-up. Then it was Mahomes Sr. replying that he wanted Rocker to keep his name out of your loud mouth. Later, Rocker called the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback a lanky-ass clown, adding that Mahomes is lucky he got away. I would have rocked him. He wrote F. Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, no, and I know Barstool's Dave Portnoy is trying to get them on the next rough and rowdy boxing event. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, listen, they were never on the same team, but they both played in the bigs at the same time. Holmes was from 92 to 2003, and Rocker from 98 to 2003. But you want to talk about a guy that was public enemy number one. John Rocker had that. He is up there with one of the most hated athletes, I think, in the history of 100%.
I mean, I've never heard John Rocker open his mouth and not just sound like a complete a-hole. Seriously, I mean, after a while, if you like John Rocker, you got to check yourself. Like, he's never said anything to me that's on the cusp of anything. And you're going to, how old is Patrick Mahomes Sr.? I mean,
they're both around the same age. 50,
the same?
Yeah. I said they played in the big leagues around the same time.
I mean, how old are you guys picking fights now? Like, I'm done picking fights, They're older than I am. Stop picking fights. That alcohol, bro. Alcohol make you do some dumb shit.
That's why you got to get some kava and some kratom at the Dignitary Tea and Kava House.
That's what I'm talking about,
4817.
Calm I am. You know anybody calmer than me, Jay?
Yeah,
Who's calmer than me?
I don't. Always been calm, though.
That's what I'm saying, though.
What riles you up? What's the one thing you say just really grinds your gears?
Disrespect. I don't like people disrespect me, though.
Yeah, but that's very vague.
Is it?
Disrespects you.
We had a guy that was flashing his Aryan Nation tattoos in here one time.
That was a long time ago, right?
Late last year. Not that long ago. Dealt with. Me and Chris.
Chris did?
Yeah, Chris dotted him up a little bit.
How's Chris doing?
Chris is fine. Chris is the sheriff.
No, let me ask you.
But what? But what?
How's
What? Oh. Chris was here for a little bit, and then people was commenting at him. Chris don't do that well.
Chris, my brother, I would have. Listen, man, I am not that guy.
Yeah,
I am not that guy, man.
But I'm the same way. And listen, when your team is losing, you don't want people saying, "Oh my God, that's terrible." You don't want that at you.
Yeah.
I just want to. Yeah, leave me alone.
Get out of my face.
Yeah. How do you feel about this? How about I punch you in your lip? But this is a very peaceful place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you come in here flashing Aryan tattoos, then it's unpeaceful.
Or start talking smack to the Chiefs, smack about the Chiefs to Chris.
You know what I'm saying? Like to get dealt with.
Jeez.
I did see it.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see it on the TV, though.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yes. See, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many little things like that.
Right.
Like, how much weed did he smoke to come up with all this stuff? There was a lot of symbolism in there, man.
I think it.
Kendrick Lamar?
Pour one out for him.
No, I don't listen to nobody. We interviewed Greg Girardo one day, and then he was
rest in
talking
peace,
about
right?
Yeah, he was talking about being sober, and he died of a drug overdose 2 weeks later. Just because you don't drink alcohol doesn't mean you're sober, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, you just also sometimes it doesn't take fall off that wagon again, man. It may only take one time.
Bro, keep it clean,
That
man.
thing.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh.
Before
we get out of here, I got to ask you, who are you rooting for? Four Nations starts tonight.
Who?
Canada, U.S., Finland, Sweden. NHL is taking a 2-week break so that they can have this tournament best on best, and it's the great players. Tonight, Canada against Sweden. It's going to be really weird to see John Cooper, behind the bench for Braden Point, Anthony Sorelli, and Brandon Hagel with McKinnon and McDavid. Going up against Team Sweden with Captain Victor Hedman. Kind of freaking wild. Cheer for Canada here? Do you go up?
100%.
Yeah?
I'm the thing. Listen, I'm a U.S. citizen. I cheer for Canada during the Olympics. Anything hockey, I'm a Lightning fan. I don't cheer for the Canadians anymore. Anything Olympic-wise, Team Canada thing, that's all we got. All we got is hockey.
So who's giving their card back first, me or you?
You. That's fine.
You're giving your U.S. citizen card back before I'm giving my black card back. And
don't joke about that. They've been joking about coming and taking stuff away, so you better stop joking about that. Okay? That's real. Ponzo has me worried about them coming and taking my card away.
You know what? I got a guy that can help you out. His name's Tony the Racist. He'll be able to help you because he runs point on everything.
Yeah, he does.
The ultimate defender. We miss that guy. I hope you are well.
Passport.
Tony. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Ian Beckles, at Jay Recher, Dignitary Tea and Kava House. I'm just going to keep calling it that. Ponzo, give me a legit name. Is that good?
Huh?
Dignitary Tea and Kava House is good?
Dignitary is good.
Just Dignitary?
Yeah.
Come to the Digs. How about the Digs? Come to the Digs, 4817 Southwest.
Friendly.
4817 Southwest Boulevard. Try not to inhale this before I go play softball tonight.
Oh, my God. That was... Help me. We'll be back next Wednesday right here on the Beckles and Recher podcast. For Ian Beckles, I'm Jay Recher. Thanks to Tom Ponzo and Chris Fraley and the whole crew over here. Aaron Jacobson. Shooter, did he leave? He left. Love all you guys. Let's cut this off before...
Let's go.
Out, Bean Sprout.
If you're looking for the pulse of Tampa Bay sports, Beckles and Recher is the #1 source. The new